Long before the mammals began to roam the earth and birds took to the skies, the Triassic period saw the emergence of powerful creatures that came to rule the world. With pointed fangs, strong limbs, and an incredible capacity for environmental adaptation, these strange monsters were unlike anything before observed. Approximately 252 to 201 million years ago, during the Triassic period, there were significant geological and biological changes. The earliest dinosaurs developed during this time, along with a wide variety of other reptilian and mammalian species. The Earth's continents were united into a single supercontinent known as Pangaea during the early Triassic epoch. The inner land mass was largely covered by vast deserts, and the temperature was typically dry and harsh. But there were also large temperature and sea level variations, which resulted in recurring mass extinctions and the emergence of new species. The end Permian extinction, which is regarded as the most catastrophic mass extinction in Earth's history and happened around 252 million years ago, was one of the most important occurrences in the early Triassic. Up to 96% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrate species may have perished as a result of this catastrophe, which was probably brought on by a confluence of volcanic activity, climate change, and other reasons. Some groups of reptiles were able to endure and even thrive during the Triassic period despite the catastrophic effects of the end Permian extinction. The archosaurs, a group of reptiles that included crocodiles, pterosaurs, and dinosaurs, was one of these groupings. Around 230 million years ago, small bipedal predators known as the earliest dinosaurs lived in the Triassic period. The majority of these dinosaur species weighed less than 50 kilograms and measured less than 3 meters in length. Their elongated hind limbs and relative light weight allowed them to move around their environment and run quickly. Euroraptor, which was found in the Ischigualasto Formation in Argentina in 1991, is one of the oldest dinosaurs from the Triassic period that is now known. The little bipedal dinosaur known as the Euroraptor was around 1.2 meters long and weighed about 10 kilograms. Its name, which translates to dawn thief, emphasizes that the species was among the first dinosaurs to emerge. Euroraptor possessed some morphological traits typical of early dinosaurs, such as a long, slender tail, a sizable head, and lengthened hind limbs. Euroraptor would have been able to move swiftly and freely through its habitat thanks to these characteristics, possibly hunting small animals and reptiles. Herrerasaurus, a Triassic-era early dinosaur that lived in what is now Argentina about 230 million years ago, is another example. When compared to Euroraptor, Herrerasaurus was a little bigger, measuring about 4 meters long and weighing up to 350 kilograms. Similar to Euroraptor, Herrerasaurus had extended hind limbs that would have made running through its environment simple and quick. Several anatomical traits set Herrerasaurus apart from other early dinosaurs, including a flexible neck, a sizable head, and sharp serrated teeth. These characteristics imply that the predatory Herrerasaurus was a competent eater of a variety of small and medium-sized creatures, including other dinosaurs. Another early dinosaur from the Triassic period is the Styracosaurus, which lived roughly 230 million years ago in what is now Brazil. A little bipedal predator, Styracosaurus was only around 1.5 meters long and weighed less than 20 kilograms. Styracosaurus, like Euroraptor and Herrerasaurus, possessed large hind limbs that would have made it easy for it to move fast across its habitat. A big head with sharp serrated teeth and a relatively long, slender tail are just a couple of the anatomical traits that Styracosaurus possessed. With these characteristics, it is possible that Styracosaurus was a cunning predator who specialized in catching tiny animals and reptiles. Large herbivores, armored tank-like creatures, and flying pterosaurs are just a few of the many forms that dinosaurs took on throughout the Triassic epoch. The sauropodomorphs, a group of long-necked herbivores that later developed into some of the largest land animals in history, including Apatosaurus and Brachiosaurus, are some of the most well-known dinosaurs from the Triassic. Two of the most well-known sauropod dinosaurs that existed between 155 and 145 million years ago are Apatosaurus and Brachiosaurus. Large herbivorous dinosaurs known as sauropods had huge bodies, long necks and tails, and small heads. The enormous dinosaur Apatosaurus, formerly known as Brontosaurus, had a length of up to 22 meters and weighed more than 20 tons. It possessed a long chiseled neck that could reach plants and trees at great heights. It had a long tail that was probably employed for balance and defense. The blunt teeth on the comparatively small snout of the Apatosaurus were employed to tear leaves off of branches. The fossils of the Apatosaurus, a late Jurassic dinosaur, have been discovered all throughout North America. It most likely ate plants most of the time and lived in herds. In spite of its enormous size, Apatosaurus was able to move extremely swiftly. Some researchers believe it was capable of running up to 30 kilometers per hour. However, some estimates place the length of the Brachiosaurus at over 25 meters and its weight at over 50 metric tons, making it even bigger than Apatosaurus. Brachiosaurus could reach foliage of up to 12 meters off the ground thanks to its long, upward-angled neck. It had a peculiar sloping posture due to the length difference between its front and back legs. Brachiosaurus, like Apatosaurus, probably lived in herds and spent most of its time on plants. It wouldn't have needed to travel around as often because of its enormous size, because it could eat a lot of vegetation in one feeding session. Next comes theropods, a group of bipedal predators that evolved into some of the most dreadful and recognizable dinosaurs of the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, including Tyrannosaurus rex and velociraptor are among other noteworthy Triassic dinosaurs. Theropod Silopsis, one of the most prevalent and well-studied Triassic dinosaurs, existed in what is now North America roughly 210 million years ago and is known for hundreds of fossilized specimens. A group of small to medium-sized theropod dinosaurs known as Silopsis lived between 215 and 200 million years ago during the late Triassic epoch. It predates the famous Jurassic and Cretaceous dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus rex and velociraptor by tens of millions of years, making it one of the earliest dinosaur genera known to have existed. Silophysis, which means hollow form, alludes to the hollow bones that are a defining attribute of theropods. These dinosaurs possessed a light, streamlined body that enabled them to move swiftly and nimbly. They were bipedal, which means they stood on two legs. One of the most well-researched dinosaurs from the Triassic period is Silophysis, which is known from hundreds of fossil specimens, including full skeletons. The anatomy, behavior, and evolutionary history of early theropod dinosaurs have all been greatly improved by these specimens. The social behavior of Silophysis is one of its most intriguing features. These dinosaurs likely lived in huge groups of individuals that included both juveniles and adults, according to fossil evidence. These tribes may have shared resources like water and nesting areas or engaged in joint hunting. Early dinosaurs rarely exhibited this kind of social conduct, which shows that Silophysis had more intricate social structure than many of its contemporaries. Apart from such ferocious qualities, these deadly creatures became extinct by the end of the Triassic period. A global climate change event known as the End Triassic Extinction, which took place approximately 201 million years ago, was one of the primary causes of the extinction of the dinosaurs of the Triassic epoch. Massive volcano eruptions that released enormous volumes of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere and caused a quick and severe warming of the globe set off this event. The ecosystem was greatly affected by this climate change event, which most likely caused extensive droughts, wildfires, and other ecological disturbances that had a significant influence on the dinosaurs and other species of the period. So this was all about the dinosaurs of the Triassic who had their unique set of traits, structure, and predatory skills. If you want to get more such updates, hit the bell icon and subscribe to this channel. Also, let us know in the comments section how you find it. By knowing about unique species, we get an idea of how the world, climate, and wilderness was in historic times. We get to know about several new concepts we never knew ever existed. Did you know there was a species called ghost hunters in the Cretaceous period? It was named Spectrovenator. Click the video on your screen to know more about it.